In this episode of Kids Podcast, I am honored to share wisdom with you about leading kids in your church and in your home. Dealing with kids is hard work, and I'm praying that we add some tools to your tool belt today. So let's dive into today's topic. How do I outline my message? That's what we're talking about in today's episode of Kids Podcast. I'm Ron Gale, your podcast host for this episode, and we're doing a three-part series. We're doing a three-part series on how to prepare a message outline. I've had real pastors approach me and say, "Hey, Ron, I'm going to do my first message with kids. What do you do to talk to kids?" I've had people online reach out to me and say, "Hey, I heard you talk about this concept. Can you tell me more about it?" I've had friends, "Hey, I've heard this concept that you've referred to. Tell me more about your P." And I was like, "What? No, I think you misheard a word there, not my P. But let me tell you about it." So we're going to do a three-part series. The first episode today, right now, we're talking about sermon outline prep. In the second episode, we're going to talk about a 5-minute message outline prep. And then in the third episode, we're going to talk about non-sermon outline preps. You know, for locker room talks, board meetings, leadership contributions, you name it. How I prep my messages for all these scenarios. So buckle up, strap up, listen up, lock up, a bunch of other ups, and let's do this. Boom. All right. Full sermon prep by Ron Gale. So, yes, I use P's, a bunch of P's. What you're going to want to do is go get a journal or some sheets of paper. You're going to divide your sheets of paper into 3. Each 3, you're going to need at least 2 sheets of paper because you need 6 buckets. I do have 7 or 8 sometimes. Technically, I could push it to 9 or 10, but there's 6 main ones that we will talk about. You're going to get a 7th one that is a bonus. And for every category, I leave enough room to talk and make notes. So for every category that we're talking about, I make notes. I make a bunch of notes. I make mini notes, as many ideas as I can think of. Sometimes I need more room for my notes, and I write small, really, really small. But let's come back to that detail. So first is the primer. The primer is the introduction. You can think of it as the little button on your small engine lawnmower. You've got to push that bumper. You've got to prime the engine before it starts. Another way of looking at it is like comedians. When you go to a comedian show, you don't just get the main comedian right away. What usually happens first? Usually, a smaller newcomer comes out. A small 5-minute comedian comes out, and he primes the audience. They get kind of giggling and laughing. That guy was silly. But then the real deal comes out, and Jim Gaffigan is like hilariously funny, and you're loving it. That's what the primer does. He gets you primed and ready for the real deal. And so that's how I use introductions in my messages. I don't just come out swinging. I prime the audience with the topic. How does the introduction prepare the people for the topic? It might be a character, it might be a game, it could be any idea under the sun. And I'm going to write down all the ideas that come to me right away. Character, game, monologue, you name it. I'm going to put it there. And that list could be long. It could be very detailed. It could be very specific. It could be, I know that I want this, put it in there. The second thing I do is I go right into the point. What is the main point of this entire sermon, this entire message, this entire topic? I want a repeatable phrase, something I can say and the kids will repeat. Something I can say and the kids will repeat. Something I can say and the kids will repeat. And if they repeat it, I have successfully landed on a point. So then, after the primer, after the point, I go into my personal connection. PPP, primer, point, personal. How do I personally connect with this passage? With this sermon? Usually, when it's with kids, this is easy because it's always a fishy story, not a fishing story. It's a fishy story. My kids love my fishy stories. I use them for adults too, but other times it can be just a life story, a life experience, a memory, you name it, something that connects with me as the speaker. After that, I go into the passage. I specifically want a Bible story passage, not a Bible verse passage. I want a Bible story passage that I can break down and talk about the full story of David and Goliath and how awesome he is and blah, 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 and yada, yada, and how the passage is connected to this message. After that, I go into a people connection. How do the people connect to this topic? It might be newsworthy. It might be a top 10 list. It might be 3 signs you are boom, boom, boom. It could be anything. This is the hardest one because you're going to have to do a little bit of studying, a little bit of research, a little bit of understanding of the culture and demographics. But if you can connect the people to this, you will do well. And then number 6 is the practice, right? The practical application. We said the primer, the point, the personal, the passage, the people, and the practice. That's my 6. And sometimes I do 1 big practical applications, and other times I do 3. I write down all my ideas for each one. Sometimes I have more than 1 Bible story. Sometimes I put all the exegetics there. All the notes that I could possibly think of to add to this sheet of paper is what I put down. And then my bonus one, number 7, is power. This is usually a powerful memory verse. Sometimes I do this with adults, but I always do it with a kid. Memory verse. That is what I use for power. Something that I can help the kids use to just reinforce the entire topic and its message. Now, again, for every section, I simply write down all the ideas I have. I just get it all out. Am I going to use it all? No. This is just drafting. This is just ideas. This is just me figuring things out. Even if I work with ChatGPT, I put all of this in there. I might not even use it. I'm just giving it all, sharing it all, writing it all. When I have it all drafted, when I have everything I can think of there, then I will back up. Then I need to go through every single one, and I need to think through, like, which one do I want to commit to? Which one of these are going to get the job done? Which one of these make me go, yes, that's it? Because I don't want meh, and I definitely don't want ick. I want yes, this is good. That will preach. Let's go. So as I go through every single P, I begin to circle which ones I love. That gets me excited. Confidence is a big deal to me. When I'm doing events, activities, speeches, sermon writing, you name it, if I go, boom, yes, that gives me confidence. Why? Because I know from fishing that when I use the confidence lure, I catch more fish. And there is a whole psychology to that. It's a whole nother message, but it's about fishing, and it's not just fishy. You know what I'm saying? So I circle all the things that made me go, yes, that made me go, boom, that made me go, yeah, let's do this. And so by the time I'm done, I want at least 6 or 7 circles for the entire message. 1 part. And what I mean is for the point, I might have 3 different points, but I can't give 3 points in one message. I got to pick one that I think will really land. Once I have it all down, once they're all circled, then I will take those particular favored circled notes, lock them in. I'm going to put it all on a whole new sheet of paper. I might even say, chat, these ones I locked in. Let's make a PDF of these. And that's my entire sermon manuscript. All my studying and my notes are there. If I need to study more for something, that's a completely different topic. But it's all there. That's the manuscript I use for outlining a sermon. There it is. Bada bing, bada boom. If you've got questions, I hope I can help. Stick around for the next episode where I can talk to you about 5-minute message prep outlines. Until next time, everybody say bye, Pastor One. Thank you for listening. Smash those like buttons, turn the bells blue, or whatever the kids are doing these days. At the end of the day, our goal is to raise little people to one day become big people. You can find older archived podcasts on our YouTube channel and support what we do at rongaleministries.com. Enjoy!